Hi book besties, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are seeing my face for the first time, hi, my name is Maya and I like to talk about books here on the internet. You guys, we have a very special video for you guys today. Today, I am collabing with Ashley Hart's Reading, my first ever collab, and we are going to be doing a 5-star swap. What we decided to do was that we were going to give each other a list of 6 books that are our personal favorite 5-star reads, and we would choose one of those books to read, and this is going to be the vlog for that. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. I have given her my list and I will be linking her video, by the way, and it will be linked in the description box down below. She has just sent over her list of books. I'm going to screen record her video of the list of books that she sent for me to pick from, and we are gonna see what my next read is. And I'm nervous, I'm excited. Let's get into the reaction because I can't wait any longer. I'm so excited.
Hey Maya and everybody over at Maya Papaya Reads. I'm so excited to do this collab with you. Our first one, we were popping each other's collab cherries. Yes, so I'm excited to give you my recommendations. I tried to do kind of a smattering of different genres and ones that are a little bit more buzzy, ones that are a little bit less buzzy to kind of give a nice, again, I have to use the word smattering of options for you. So hopefully you haven't read too many of these already, because so you have more options to choose from.
Perfect. Love that. Okay. I'm glad I'm glad she knows who she's picking for. I think we both have surprised each other with the fact that like we are often like so late to the viral books. So I'm interested to see what kind of backlist suggestions she has, because I don't know, I feel like there's gonna be a fair few that just have never crossed my radar, so I'm very intrigued.
All right, so let's get right into them. So the first one I picked is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. So Project Hail Mary is about Riley and Grace, who is part of a mission into space to find a way to save humanity. They need to save Earth, and they're humanity's last hope. So he's part of that team that goes out there. And when we start the book, he realizes he is the sole survivor of the mission, and he has like a lot of amnesia. He doesn't like know who he is. He doesn't know why he's there. I think he does kind of remember that he's humanity's only hope and he has to like help humanity, but basically he has to like figure out, uncover all these clues in the ship that he's in, and yeah, just regain all these memories. And then we do get some like flashbacks as like he's remembering, so we kind of get the whole idea of like why he's there and like what led him to be there. So yeah, he's alone in space and needs to save the humanity. He's the only one that can do it. He last hope. And yeah, so this is a lot for him, obviously. And he meets a companion out in space that may be able to help him do this. That's all I'm going to say about it. This book is like one of my top favorite books of like all time. I like flew through it. It is amazing. They're making a movie out of it with Ryan Gosling. Take that for whatever you will.
Okay, I was wondering because it sounded like a particular movie that I've already seen before. Because strangely enough, I grew up thinking that I was not a sci-fi girly. I didn't like any of that. Meanwhile, on the aerospace team, watched all the space movies. Don't know why. But okay. Okay, is this giving like Alien, or is this giving just like other people who also got lost? Or not got lost, but like got stranded out in space? Questions. Okay, I'm intrigued.
But hopefully it's going to be good. Anyway, it is an amazing sci-fi book. And don't be scared of hard sci-fi with him, because Andy Weir is very good at making it very approachable and funny and interesting and like heartwarming. Like this book will make you laugh, cry, everything. So yes, Project Hail Mary is one of my favorites. My next book for your consideration is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. So I don't know about your feelings on Colleen Hoover, but I really love her books, and this is my favorite of her.
So, I have not read any Colleen Hoover, but I have heard that there is a lot of controversial opinions on her stuff. This is interesting.
Her book. Like I've read this book probably like 3 times. So it's about Ben and Fallon, who meet on Fallon's last day in LA. She was a former child actress, but she has like a bad scar from a fire, which unfortunately like ended her career. So she's moving to New York to pursue stage acting. So they meet on her last day. They have a great day together. And I think Ben comes up with this crazy idea that they should meet on November 9th every year at that restaurant that they met. And so, yeah, they part ways, no contact, no looking each other up in between. So they part ways, and every year they meet back at that restaurant and kind of like reconvene like where they left off, kind of. So I was, a lot can happen in a year. And yeah, there was an initial attraction for them in the beginning. So that carries on throughout the book. And yeah, they have a lot of personal issues that come into the story. But yeah, it is very fast paced, and it is like heartbreaking. And at every turn, there's just like drama. I love the drama in my book. So there's so much going on all the time. There's like,
yeah, I do remember that. We definitely talked about like drama being in our books, not in our lives, or things that we like put too much attention towards other than our books. I do remember that conversation.
very little breathing room in this book. So if you're looking for a nice like la 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 book, this might not be for you right now. But if you're looking for something that really keep your attention and is really entertaining, it's this. And just when you think you can like take a breath, you can't. So this is just like a page turner. It is like sucker punch after sucker punch. It's like so good. The next book I'm going to recommend is Stars Over Clear Lake by Loretta Ellsworth. And this is a World War II historical fiction, basically about Lorraine and her family who own a farm in the Midwest. I think it's Iowa. And the son goes off and enlists in World War II. So because all the men are leaving and the son is gone, so they don't really have help on the farm, they accept there was like a program where World War II German prisoners of war came and worked on farms in the Midwest. So they accept the help, and I believe they have 2 or 3 young men, German young men, come work on their farm. So this is very contentious because the mother is very upset about her son enlisting and having these German soldiers on their farm around their daughter, especially when their son is fighting on the other side of the conflict. So there's a lot of contention around that issue. But throughout the book, they kind of realize, the dad and Lorraine kind of realized that these are just human beings that were caught up in a conflict, that they're not necessarily bad people. They were just young boys that were caught up in this conflict. And she befriends one in particular. I can't remember his name, but he's trying to learn English, and they kind of like form a little friendship, and maybe more than a little friendship. So there's things that happen in this book that make the situation way more complicated for everyone involved. And also there's a little bit of a love triangle, kind of a little bit of love triangle with her, that like German boy, and then a boy at school who is like the like poster child for the boyfriend you'd want, for like the boy your parents would want you to bring home, and all of that. So there's a little love triangle there, which I love. This is a bit like more slow paced, easy, just kind of like an easy read, but there is a lot of emotional, kind of like slow emotional sadness, I guess. So if you're in the headspace for that, it's very good. It is like a standalone. This is the only adult book this author has written. She usually writes like middle grade and children, I think. But I just love this book. I've read it several times. It's just so sweet. And I actually learned like it is fiction, but I didn't know that this program had actually existed. So I learned something too. The next book is the first book in a series, I think, of 5. I read the whole thing and gave like the majority of them all 5 stars. And then
So that's kind of dangerous for me if there's series, because I feel like this is my year of series. I think I said in one of my videos, I don't know in which video, but I know I said recently that like I like standalones more than I like series, because I don't want the bookish worlds to end. And like it's just, I don't know, it's easier for me to take that, you know, in one singular standalone, like the world doesn't continue, but like with a series it does. Why do I think that I'm going to immediately go for this book that's a part of a series just to add to my list of series? That'd be my excuse to buy more books. Just cheers. Okay.
that is Selection by Kira Cass.
I read it. That would have been my excuse, but I read it. I did. I read them. I love them. I trust your book recommendations based purely on that right there.
And this is basically, if you like trials and like competition books, this would be a good one for you. It's basically about a girl named America, and she is selected with 35 or I guess 34 other girls to compete. They don't choose, like it's kind of like the reaping, like you just get chosen to compete for the prince's, to be the prince's future wife, to become queen eventually, to become a princess. And she does not want to be part of this competition. She is in love with someone else, but she has to go. And also it kind of lifts them out of their social status. Doesn't matter where they came from, they get lifted up to this, being a princess. So it can really elevate their family and like bring their family out of poverty. So there's a lot of reasons why girls want to compete in this, but she is not one of them. She does not want to compete in this. What else can I say about it? Yeah, there's a lot of girls. You get a lot of girls competing for a princess title, competing for a guy, and you can imagine the cattiness, and then like also some of the like really good sweet friendships that develop.
Yeah, I think this author, you know what I could say about this series? She's probably going to get to it. Sorry for cutting you off, girl. I think that this author does the girl dynamics very well, the female dynamics. She does the cattiness and the jealousy, the insecurity, the romantic, the platonic. I think she does it really well. Like she capitalizes on the relationships really well. And being that, our female main character is the voice that we are, getting our opinion from, she's also very much not like the other girls in this story. But for as much as I think that trope is non-existent, really, like that it just shouldn't exist, because what does that even mean? I do think that this author does it really well. So I don't know, she's probably gonna say that too.
Yeah, so she's competing for this guy that she doesn't want, and she's in love with somebody else that's actually a lower class than her out on the outside. That's all I can say about it. But it's about 5 books, and my friend had the whole series, gave me the whole series, and I just read through them, and they were so good. There's so much like just personal drama, which I really, really loved. The next book I'm going to recommend is Little Fires Everywhere by Selesneg. And this will
That's the one. I have it somewhere. I have it. I will read it. I'll let you explain, girl, but I will read. I will read it. I've been looking for an excuse.
was a Goodreads choice for 2017, so it's a bit of a backlist, which is good.
That's right, because everyone was talking about this. I do remember. That's why I even bought it in the first place. But then I kept hearing like really good things about it, and just obscure things like family dynamic being just like so good, which was so important to me at the time, still is, but like at the time at the time my parents were going through a divorce and were getting separated, and I was having to deal with like my feelings about that, and there was just a lot that was going on. So during that time when I was reading books, I was heavy into, is this relatable? Is this true about this dynamic? So when I read freaking Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, oh my, I hated that book for its dynamic about that and how it handled things. And maybe my opinion has changed, but during that time, I hated it. Anyways, sorry, that's a whole other thing. But this book used to be everywhere, and then I think there's also a movie on it. Yeah, a Hulu original series. Love that it's on the front of the book, and I didn't even think to read that. Okay, anyway, moving on.
And it is set in Shaker Heights, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, which I'm not from that specific town, but I am from a suburb of Cleveland. So there are places in this book that I grew up going to, which was so crazy to me. But everybody loved the book regardless of having that me having that personal connection to it. But basically, it's talking about Shaker Heights as a community, that it's like a very pre-planned community, kind of like a Stepford wife type of community. And then Mia and Pearl move in, and Mia is an artist. They're Chinese American family, so it's just Mia and her daughter Pearl, and they move in to they rent a house from the Richardsons, which is like a prominent family in Shaker Heights, and they kind of assimilate into their family. They have like several children, and Pearl kind of starts assimilating with them, and they become really entrenched in each other. Both families become very entrenched in each other. And then on a kind of like a side story, but affects the main story very much, there is a white couple that wants to adopt a Chinese baby, and that's kind of in their community, and a custody battle with the child's birth parents and the adoptive parents like breaks out. So it really like tests the bonds that they've kind of made, because they are a Chinese family, and this is a white family and a Chinese baby. So there's a lot of like that tension there, and like picking sides, and like starting to try, like it kind of like throws a wrench in like this like nice little found family that they kind of made with these two families. So yeah, it's a very good book, and it kind of starts off with like a house being put on fire. That's kind of like the inciting incident, and then I think you could go back. Yeah, that's all I really want to say about it. But it's very, it has a lot to say. The last book I'm going to recommend is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love everything she writes. Pretty much everything is 5 stars for me, for sure. So
I have heard of Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have just recently bought Daisy Jones and the Six.
I think this one and Evelyn Hugo are like her 2 masterpieces so far. We'll see. But yeah, so Malibu Rising is about 4 kind of like celebrities, nepo babies, if we want to use that term, nepo babies that have a party at one of their Malibu mansions to celebrate the end of summer. And we kind of know at the beginning that the house burns down, and then we kind of rewind.
What is with so many houses being burned down? What is happening with life? Also, sorry I keep like moving my head. I know it might be a little interesting in post editing and whatever, but I need to move as I'm reacting to stuff. I'm sorry.
And then play through what happens to lead to that. So all these siblings are different life stages, and they're all going through all these different things, and all of this stuff within each other, like within their old sibling relationships, and then with their relationships outside of their family, all come to a head at this party, and like everything explodes at the party. It deals with like infidelity, like sibling relationships. I don't want to go too much into it, but there is, if you've ever read any of Taylor Jenkins Reid books, you know that they are all happen in the same world. They're all standalones, but they all happen in this, not all of them, but the last like 4 or 5 books all happen in the same world.
Hold please. I need to Daisy Jones and I need to just look up. Okay. I just needed to look up that Daisy Jones and the Six was Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay. And that I'm recording on every single devices are precarious. Okay, you have to check every like 15 minutes. I've got 5 minutes over.
So like their dad is in other Taylor Jenkins Reid books, and there's like little Easter eggs and stuff like that if you've read them all, which I love how subtly she has done that. So if this is your first Taylor Jenkins read, keep an eye out. Like just kind of remember some details, and when you read other ones, if you liked it, you'll know. If this isn't your first, you will definitely pick up on like, oh yeah, I know this from another book, or I know that from another book. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. That's not giving anything away. Also, kind of fun about
that is a common problem that I have, and where I'm just like, when I'm reviewing certain books, and specifically with Heartstopper, I'm just like, what can I actually say about this book other than it's the next book in the series, okay, this rating. It's a common book reviewer problem, okay? It deserves to be highlighted.
About this is that it's set in 1983, so that's kind of like a fun kind of like time for this book to be set. And yeah, the siblings have secrets from each other, and just all the dirty laundry gets aired at this party. I hope a few of these were tempting for you. Whatever you pick, you're going to have a good time, but I'm really excited to see what you think. Bye.
Bye, girl. Okay. I almost had a flipping heart attack. I was like, what is going on with my tech? Alrighty. No, okay, we're fine. Wow, okay. Wow. Well, thank you so much for these recommendations. I think I'm gonna go with Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I'll figure out how to pronounce it. Actually, correct pronunciation. Celeste Ng's name. I know how to say freaking Celeste. Celeste.
Called, it's by Celeste Ng. It's a literary novel. It's called Everything I Never Told You.
Celeste Ng. Okay. This was the winner. This is the one that we're going to be reading for this vlog, and we'll see what happens. I will come back with more of my thoughts once I actually get a little bit into it. See you guys then. You guys, I have just, oh thank gosh. Oh thank gosh. Sorry, there were people like sitting right next to me, well behind me next to me, in what is supposed to be an empty parking lot. They were coming back to their car and I was like, oh, this is awkward, Akko Taco. I'm not even gonna try. I just kind of had this urge to just find somewhere quiet and read. Like this morning, no, sorry, this afternoon, earlier in the afternoon, I did the little reaction to the list of books that Ashley gave me to read, and I chose Little Fires Everywhere. Listen, I did not expect to pick up this book as fast as I did. It's insane. I just decided, like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna read, or see if I feel like picking up a book. So I decided to go to a Ziggy's that was near me, get my normal energy drink. Yes, this is huge, I am very well aware. And this is an energy drink, okay, with cherry and vanilla syrup added to it. sometimes you just need it, okay? Because I've been filming. The content has been contenting today, and I just needed to calm down. So why calm down with an energy drink? I don't know. That's not the point of this video. Anyways, so I decided to just like see if I was gonna pick up a book or not. I picked it up. And I just wanted to say that this is extremely well written. I am so impressed. Like, I don't know. Like, okay, not to throw shade on any of the books I have read thus far, but there is a level of simplicity that is just nice to have to just like get through a book. And then there is well written, thought through plot that gives you the setup, the context, the details, and the attention to details to not only make it believable, but to be exact with your detailing if you're going to set this in a certain place, which it is. And also there is a lot of time that you put into your characters, and you just know when an author has sat with their characters, has sat with their world, knows how to write convincingly that they have sat in this world. And just, I'm telling you, I am reading the most mundane thing right now. Like, I am getting set up for the plot. I already know. Like, I'm reading about someone moving in to a house and someone's history of renting to tenants and just all of them being bad and like not staying, and how it was so hard to find the right tenant and the reasons for making the rent cheaper than other places. And I am having the best time. I'm just so invested. I don't think I would have ever been so invested in the reasonings behind rent ever. But you're following along a woman who is literally just trying to do good by lowering the rent, but she feels good for making other people feel good, and she feels like she is doing a service for the community. But you know what she's giving? She is giving very much rich person, I feel good because I helped you. You're my charity case. Like, I appreciate you because you appreciate me because I did something nice for you. That is what she is giving, and that is just like, the elitism in that attitude is just like so priceless. But the funniest part is when those types of people don't know, and we all know who I'm talking about, or not who. We all know what I'm talking about. We all have those people that are just like, I did a good deed, praise me because I did a good deed for you, and I feel so good just like giving to you because you're the charity case. And we're all just sitting here, it's just like, you should be doing nice things out of the kindness of your heart because that is who you are as a person, not just because you're trying to get accolades from other people or making yourself just like feel good because you got praised for doing something good, and the motivation for doing it is wrong for the praise rather than it just being a good thing. Like, there's a difference between doing something nice for someone and it feeling good to do something nice for someone, right? Versus doing something nice for someone so that you can get the accolades, so you can get the thank you, so that you can get the praise and be known as someone who gives and has the capability to give. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just so funny because it doesn't seem like this woman even knows that that is what she is doing, but we're following along on that. I'm also following along on, you know, seeing the most mundane task of moving into a place. Do you know how boring and excruciating and just like sweaty and nasty and just like, I don't want to do this, moving into a place is? I can appreciate nowadays like this writing style to understand like this is no like fun task ever. Like, I mean, I've only moved into one apartment and the move was so easy. It was so nice. I had great people, well, a great person help me like lug all of that stuff up, but it was still just like so monotonous, so boring. Why am I reading about that and liking it? And then also we're following along a bunch of rich kids who are just like so entitled, and they are so judgmental and opinionated, and I just love it because they are relatable, and genuinely I think they can be, I think they're going to turn out to be sweet. I genuinely think that. I think that like they have good hearts, but they're just going about it in a way that just like turns you off because like you're like, I know what this is, but you don't know what this is. And you genuinely think that this is okay and that this is good and that you're doing the right thing. And you know what? You're not hurting anybody by that mentality. Maybe turning people off a little bit and just like against people who understand it. But it's just very entertaining to see. And then also too, like the first chapter, we get thrown into a building being burned up. Like everyone is blaming this person. Meanwhile, there was a little hint, a little foreshadowing that it's more than likely not this person, or rather if it is, she was being helped by other people, and they're just so like in their mindset, like they have their perpetrator, that they're just like, no, this is it, this is what it has to be. And you're just like, bruh, like you're not even considering other options. Like a place got burned down, we're just gonna automatically assume it's one thing and just like write it off. I feel like that's actually a lot of real life cases, and that's actually kind of sad because how many people get away with stuff that they did just simply because everyone was too lazy to go into another answer, or they just assumed an answer on someone and someone just like acted along with it because they're like, you know what, you're not gonna believe me anyway, so yeah, guess what, I am the villain. So we just got deep. So I'm loving this. Look at that. Look at how much I could say about it. Not 2 chapters in, not even 21 pages. 21 pages in, 2 chapters in. I have so much to say. I'm loving it so far. I am loving things that I genuinely thought would be so boring to me because, I mean, it's mundane stuff. But you know that an author is so good when they can make that mundane stuff just so fascinating and so entertaining. And especially with, like, it is so hard to do with characterization. And when you have so many characters, like, I was warned in the reading of the list that there were some, like, side pieces going on, and you automatically, like, you get everything at the front of it. And you're just like, oh my goodness, there's a setup for just everything, and there's so many characters, there's so much going on, you're like, okay, what is happening? But also, it does make sense. Like, it's not too fast. It's just putting you in everything, and then it's gonna be like, okay, now let me walk you through it. Kind of like a, what is it? Like, crime, mystery, thriller, horror books that are, like, having to do with solving a case, because it's not just mystery that does solving cases, right? There are other types of genres as well, but it's kind of giving that, and I'm like, ugh! This author is so good at characterization though, and I've kind of missed that, to be honest, because again, most of the books that I feel like I've been reading thus far, other than Heartstopper, because I think Heartstopper, that's just a whole class of its own. But all of the more romantic-y books that I have been reading, there has been a type of simplicity that I can appreciate, but also at the same time, there is a lack of characterization and context and build-up and what feels like thought. Now listen, I feel like the authors sat with these characters more than they give us. So I don't know whether to say like it was just incomplete or if it was lazy. I don't know. Like, I don't want to throw people under the bus like that. And plus, also, I think there's like a conversation to be had that there is a market and a writing style for that market that is actually like smart on the part of the author, that they're going for that. And maybe I just don't like that type of writing as much. Like, I mean, when I'm in the mood, I'm in the mood. Like, Fourth Wing got me. Fourth Wing got me simping. The Cruel Prince and what was the other one? Zodiac Academy didn't. Neither did oh, what's its face? A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. Like, unremarkable, not memorable, but dang, am I simping for fourth week? You know what? It's Liam. It's Liam and Zayden. It's Riorson, honestly. We all know it's Riorson. That's the reason that I am simping so hard, because book boyfriend, potentially book husband. And after seeing the fan art, yes. So you know, I don't mind that, but I do think, I don't know, like, I am loving the more elevated writing style, because simplistic is not bad, don't get me wrong, we love that, but I am an analytical reader. I am someone that does look for the elevated stuff, the imagery, the style, the technique, the characterization, the can you make this really boring thing and make me want to read about it. And the thing of it is like, you're getting the history, the context, the setup, the character background information, some foreshadowing, all within the first chapter. I have not read a book like that in a minute. This is the perfect recommendation. Ah! I apparently really needed this in my life. Do you know how insane it is that I've been blabbing on for 15 minutes about 2 stinking chapters simply because this writing style is so good? Listen, this was the time for me to read this book. I'll tell you what. It's been great over here. I need to calm down. Let me drink my drink. Ooh. Ooh. Got the energy sip in there. Nice. So yeah, I'm having a great, amazing time already. Like, is it too early to call it and say that this was the book that I needed and this is going to be the same star rating as Ashley's? I don't know, man, but I'm excited. Doing well so far. I trust Ashley's recommendations. I really hope this is not me about to be eating my words. Alrighty, signing off now. Hi. So, we have a reading update. Just brilliant. Listen, I am not one to like every 10 pages want to update a book. I mean, okay, so I did that for Fourth Wing closer to the end of the book, but that was because so much stuff was happening at the end and just like everything was happening and I needed to talk about it. I needed to just vent my feelings. And like, I think I kind of did that for Nevermore too, because I also needed to vent. Listen, when I need to vent my feelings, you know this is a good book. I just finished 20 more pages, about 2 more chapters. I am wrecked, okay? I don't know. This is not a good day to read this book because I'm already overly emotional. So, okay, context. Today I did my mentoring session because Monday something happened. I actually forget what happened Monday. Oh, okay, yeah, my mentor wasn't able to meet with me on Monday, and I switched my HelloFresh order to Tuesday, and I wasn't able to see anybody that day, like literally anybody. I had plans to maybe see my mom and to help her get her car and give her a ride. Yeah, my food still hadn't come by the time she would need me to drive her over there, and the store closed about 20 minutes after I finally got my food, and I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So I'm sorry, but I can't help, unfortunately, because I'm not keeping meat out of a fridge. And she totally understood that. Great, amazing, love that. So we were meeting today. Why am I bringing any of this up for the context of this book and this update? Because I had my meeting with her, and normally it's not an affair that leads to tears, but I had called my sister prior to that, and there was just a lot of conversations, a lot of emotional stuff that has been going on, and it just kind of all culminated into something that needed to happen in order to heal further. So it was a healing cry. It was a good cry, but it was still a cry nonetheless, and it was still stuff that I was working through in real time during that meeting. So that was fun. So I am at an emotionally vulnerable place with certain topics. What do you know? The topics that I'm a little emotionally vulnerable to are here. And it's brilliant though. Like, even though this is borderline about to make me just like lose it in like that, you know, memories are resurfacing questions that I have asked myself. We're gonna get through this update and then I'm gonna figure out life. It's just handled really well and just written so amazing. Like I said this before, I'll say this again. I have been reading a lot of simply written books, and this is not shade. Like, there are certain books that are crack and sugar. It's not the next masterpiece of literature, but it is something that, yeah, it's a good read. We all collectively agree we like to read it, and it's good for that part of us that's just like into whatever we're into. And then there is like technicality heavy, really good books. Like, they're just brilliantly written, like they're geniuses. That is this. I am just really having a good time with this book. I don't normally read mundane things and find it entertaining. This author is doing a great job of being entertaining, I feel, with the mundane things. And there are certain things in here where I was just like wide-eyed, we're talking about this, okay, cool. Where I'm just like, wow, okay, this is in here. This is relatable. This makes sense to a character. This is written so well. And it's articulated in a way where it's like, okay, I don't know how to articulate myself well all of the time, if ever. Like, if I articulate myself even average, that is considered a rarity for me. But when you have authors who know how to word things really well, and ideas and stances on certain things so well, you're kind of just like, yes, this is everything I wanted to say, but did not know how to formulate said sentence. It's formulated for you. I think it's interesting because there are certain things where I think it's not necessarily that a certain stance has been taken and that it was written. It's more so the way that certain topics are handled and how they're handled, making it make sense to the character and not being preachy outside of the character to where it kind of takes you out of the story, but rather invests you further in. That's a hard thing to do, and this author does it extremely well. Also, she just writes very well, like her imagery, her comparisons, her word choices in general, even her sentence structure. My goodness, I enjoy it so much, and I think it's so good, and I fell in love with this book. This has been such a emotional roller coaster at the moment. I am foreshadowing a 5-star prediction. I am also foreshadowing me picking this book up again here very shortly. I do need to go to small group. it's about that time, so I'm going to actually get dressed and get ready and head out. Very glad I picked this up. This was a good choice on my part. Alrighty, time to head out. I am very tired, but I'm bringing you guys an update because I feel like this is necessary. If I don't say it now, I won't say it later, or I'll just reiterate it later. So, this book right here has my attention, has my heart, has my interest and investment, all of the things. When I say I have never cared more about nothing and have no idea what is happening and simultaneously knows exactly what is happening and how this author is using the stories and plots and techniques just like perfectly, this book is very hard to describe, honestly. I mean, like, you can say basic things like it makes the mundane just the most interesting thing imaginable. It has all of the techniques and styles of just good literature, if that makes sense. It's not sugary crack. It is substantive. There is imagery. There is elevated vocabulary. There is movement throughout the story that takes you from one element to another in a perfect transitionary way with language. And this is like everything, quite frankly, that any writer would want to emulate, if that makes sense. Not necessarily in that they have to write the exact same, but it takes talent. There are things about writing that just objectively are good and bad. That is why even when things are simplistic, when they're sugary and crack, they can still be objectively good stories. And then there are things that we can all agree are objectively bad in books and in literature just in general. Now, I want to specify that our intake of a book, of our reaction to the literature, it is subjective, and there are a lot of subjective elements in writing, but there are key things, and I wish I could like articulate it well here, but there are key elements in literature that have to be there objectively that we can all agree on in every style, in every genre, in every type of book that is out there. And there is something about this book that is just objectively good, and you could take so much from this and just take it out and study it for a bit. And everything that I just said as examples, sure, subjective in the way that you write it and the way the reader reads, but there are ways that objectively can be bad about the styles and techniques used to make something that is mundane completely extraordinary and the most interesting thing that you've read ever in your life, and you're just like, I need to know more, and it's literally just people living out their lives. So it's reality television, honestly. Anyway, so what I'm trying to get at though is there are things in here objectively, style, technique, verbiage, elevated vocabulary, things like that, imagery, foreshadowing, characterization, world building, plot, structure, everything, where I'm just like, yes, this can be taken, objectively studied, subjectively studied, discussed in writing classes. I think that this would be a good book. And like, I don't know on the college level, to be honest. I'm still in college for that, to be honest, so I wouldn't even speak for that. But I would say, you know, elementary and up, you know, this is a good book to study literarily for technique and style and stuff. I do think that. And I don't say that about books often. I'm not one to seek out books for academia purposes. Are you kidding? I'm a terrible student. Not that I'm a terrible student, but like, I was not made to be a student, which is why I just want to zip right through college. At this point, like, it has taken me so long to get through college because of that, but it's also going to be the thing that just like, yeah, just get me out of here. That is going to motivate me, quite frankly, because I'm just not made for the classroom. Like, I'll gladly study certain things for what I want, but I'm just wasn't made for a classroom. All of that to say, I don't look for things for academia purposes. However, objectively, I think this is a good book to study for English and language and literature in higher levels of academia. That's all I'm gonna say. And high praise, because I don't say that about books. So yeah, definitely. But then also subjectively, it's just such a good time. I am so nosy, and I like to be judgmental about characters because I prefer not to be judgmental about actual people. So the part of me that is human and wants to judge something so bad, my characters, and this is great. This is giving me everything I need and more. So I'm very excited to keep reading this. I'll get more along the actual plot, but I do need to go back into work. I'm on lunch break right now. It's towards the end. I got me some energy because necessary, and so I need to get back in to finish out the day. But I did want to just say that this is so good, and I wanted to make that point because I think that point above all is something that I don't want to forget. So said it, and when I next update you guys, I'll be a little further along and I'll be able to give more of the story in context for like everything that I have been saying that I love about this book. So yeah, see you guys in the next update. Hi guys, reading update time. I think last I talked to you guys, I was saying that this should be studied in literature classes and literature courses, and I stand by that 100%. But I also said that I would get more into the plot because I have been more expounding on just how good the writing makes me feel. But to be honest, when it comes to plot and stuff, I really don't know what is happening because we are going from day to day, life moment to life moment, with backstory and context interwoven throughout the big event that is the culmination of what our story is going to be. And then we go to where it all began with our characters and certain characters that are not present at the culminating event, even though no one knows that. Like, I mean, there are a few people that know certain things that if everyone just talked to each other, they'd be able to figure it out pretty easily. But we get introduced to these characters that come in, and then we get kind of two families just kind of connecting and entwining in each other's lives in ways that they never thought possible, because you have this uber rich family and this very, very poor family, and you're just getting all of the different dynamics, all of the friendship dynamics, the romantic dynamics, lifestyle, like breach thing, that's the right word, right? Divide. You're getting a lot of things just by the very things existing, by the very two families existing. You're getting so many differing, opposing viewpoints and perspectives and dynamics, but then you get each character with different dynamics and perspectives amidst all of that. So it's so good. There's just so much to be said, but none of it is really about the plot. I just think it's so interesting to describe. Oh my goodness. I really just love the writing style as is, because a lot of the books that I tend to gravitate towards, you know, it is definitely more monologue heavy than it is dialogue heavy. And not to say that this is necessarily dialogue heavy. It's definitely monologue, but it's kind of monologue of a world and of a perspective than I would say the characters even themselves, because we are getting a world. We are getting an actual legitimate place, and from what I hear, legitimate context and background, and the characters are just living in it. You know, normally we're following the characters and we are following them along in their world. This is their world, but no, this is the world's world. If that makes sense, that's the best way I could describe it. So that's kind of what we are looking at when we're looking at this, and I'm just like, I'm kind of here for it. And then also there is an element of, you know, just judging the rich people hardcore, you know, but then also on the other side, there is a judgment aspect that I have towards our mom on the other side. And I think we're meant to. I think we're meant to thoroughly judge these characters, because that is what this experience should lead us towards. It's like we shouldn't feel comfortable with this world. And it's hilarious because this is the most realistic interpretation of the world and of a real time and a real place that I have ever read. Minus a couple of books here or there. But for the most part, I read to escape. This is uncomfortably real in their characters, in the best way. Like, you are so uncomfortable with the topics that are talked about, but you can't not continue because you understand that this is real. These characters embody real life people, everyday people. And I think that's what makes it so entertaining, so intriguing, because I'm here literally reading about rich people who I could care less about. Like, to be honest, there are certain elements of a rich person's life and perspective that I would just never vibe with, that I would never feel comfortable around, I think, if they were like this person. There are other qualities in people that are more redeeming, but ultimately, the way that I grew up versus the way they grew up, they being the characters in this book, I could not relate. I would probably have a rough time with them. They and I would have a go of it, probably. We would not probably like each other. We would be fascinated by each other to a point, like the way that these characters are. Like, I feel like this relationship is actually quite valid. One genuinely sees a whole new perspective. One of the children, one of the rich kids, sees a genuine perspective, a genuine chance at friendship, and values that above everything else, even the money. And there are people like that. One sees this lifestyle as a novelty and something to gawk at, something to think of as just something to be watched and entertainment. The other is like, yeah, you're entertaining for a time, but let me just do my thing. Then on the other side, these rich kids, they're living the life. I want to look and act and be like this, because if I'm like that, then I will get everything that comes along with that this other person has. Fake friends, fake attention, shallow life. Yeah, and I'm not saying that this is about all rich people in general, right? But I think we know at our core, money can't buy happiness. We can say it does. Let me rephrase that. Money cannot buy joy. You can have your happiness for a second. You can have that serotonin boost. But it's not the state of being. It's a feeling. Happiness is a feeling. Joy is a state of being. You can be joyful and still be going through it and still hate certain things. Money cannot buy joy. That state of being, that just security, even when things are going a little rough, even when you're feeling it, even when you have a bad day. Money can't buy that. Money can't buy that serotonin boost, that happiness pill. And there can be rich people who are in that state of being of joy. Most of the time, if it's a security and money type of thing, you would tend to lean towards the happiness pill. Because there is no security in money. There is a idea of security in money. But if you base your security solely on money, I think that's where the state of being versus a happy pill for a minute, I think that's where that differs. I think that's where that line is crossed. In that way. In that sense. Like there are other things that also have that, you know, here's that state of being word, and then here is that little feeling of a moment. And there's a line that it crosses. I know we're getting deep here. Not sorry about it, but I know we're getting deep here. Bear with me. So I'm not saying that all rich people have this fake, shallow way of living, okay? But there is an element of fakeness and shallowness that is real. And this is what this person embodies. And so on the flip side, for this other girl, for the daughter of the more poor woman, she's looking at these kids and kind of also gawking and seeing them as a spectacle. You know, there is an element, except for one of the kids. Actually, two? One? I don't know. Izzy is weird. But of the 3 older siblings, of the 4 children on this side, 2 of the 3 oldest have this gawking entertainment look at the life of the girl who is poor, and the girl who is poor looking at these 2 older siblings is also gawking and having entertainment value from being their project, essentially. And like, that sounds bad, but that's what it ends up becoming. There's not a real foundational interaction. They think there is because they're young, but there's really not. And it's proven because we already had an instance where there was a chance for something real on both sides, and the ball was dropped. They didn't care. She pretended not to care. But she still wants that life. Because now she's in it. And now she wants this family's love and attention and approval. For what reason? Still yet to be determined. However, there can be things that you can guess at. And that's the writing in this book, man. That's you know, it's uncomfy. I think it's meant to be that, though. Just heard a noise from my fridge. Yikes. So yeah, so that's where we're at in this book. Crazy, huh? So good. So anyways, I am hoping to read a little bit more of this tonight, actually. This is a Tuesday, so of course I'm in Ashley Hart's Readings live stream. I'm getting better at saying that first time. So yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit more of this, and we'll see how much further along I can get. By the way, she is now reading my pick, and she chose my top pick. And I'm not gonna say anything past that because you go watch her video. That'll be linked in the description box down below. Yeah. And yeah, that's the plan, Stan. So I'm going to be getting to some adulty chores so that I can get to reading later on and bring you guys along for my thoughts. Excuse the look. I am currently getting my hair done at the moment, so yes, everything looks askew and I look weird. We're gonna just forgive that, okay? Because I just needed to get this out there. I will be more put together when I next update you guys. This is not necessarily a reading update, this is more a reading rant. I got further along in Little Fires Everywhere, And I am on page 151, and there is this quote that has me seething. You could figure out anything about a person if you just tried hard enough. I'm mad. I do not like Mrs. Richardson, and I really don't like Mrs. Richardson. I don't think I've ever said this about a character before, or at least recently, not entirely sure. Maybe I shouldn't say I've never said this about a character, but I hate this character. And I think I am supposed to. I think this author wants me to hate this character. I truly do, because I have a lot of thoughts, but we'll come to you with a proper reading update without this situation in 0.1 second.
Hello! Welcome to a reading update, finally.
And the very last clip I gave you guys was of a crazy... was of me when I was getting my hair done, okay? I do remember that part. And within that, I gave you guys a quote from the book and my thoughts on it, and then I said I would kind of elaborate a little bit more because I felt like there needed to be more context. Basically, from the start of the book till now, we are really following along a slice of life piece where we are following along rich people and poor people coexisting together, and there's just a lot of conversations, a lot of discussion within the actual book itself is just general, but then also between the characters and their thoughts and their opinions. And here's how I know this is a good author. I really hate some of these characters. Like, you can understand them, you can sympathize and empathize with them because you understand that there are people that are like this. But also because they are fictional, I do have every single right to say I hate them, and I do, because what the heck are you? Like, what are you? But then also, it kind of just, it speaks to the writing style itself that it can take such real life elements of people and make them into a character. Like, I'm really trying to be very careful with what I say, because I'm refraining from using the word caricature, because people are not caricatures. This is real life and real stuff, but the characters are caricatures of what can go down in real life. And the saddest part is that I think it does reflect so much variations of thoughts and perspectives, and how society kind of built itself on its ideologies with the thought processes that it has, while using a kind of low stakes storyline with high packed, high action stuff to keep the reader engaged, and like literally so amazing. And it's just storyline so amazing, plot so amazing. I just, like, all of the thoughts. I have, like, so many things that I want to say about certain characters. Where do I even start? I mean, there's just so much context to the specific situation that I'm thinking of. But basically, there was a young woman that needed to give up her baby. So she did, and this baby found its way to a very prominent, very rich family of a woman who couldn't conceive. So much discussion there, right? You know, she's talking to Mia, who is Pearl's mom, Pearl being the young girl and Mia being the young woman, her mom, who has moved into this very rich area and is renting from this very rich lady, Mrs. Richardson. The Richardson family, and then Mia and Pearl are the two families that we're basically following. The Richardsons are rich. Little on the nose, I know, but the Richardsons are rich, and Mia and Pearl are the ones in poverty, basically. And so their stories connect because they are renting from the Richardsons, because the Richardsons have a place where they give the rent for basically nothing to people who could use a good home because they feel that that is their good deed to the world. And so they are now interconnected and their stories are aligning. Well, Mia is an artist and she works part-time as an artist, part-time at this one restaurant, and she has a coworker who is this young woman that had to give up her baby, and the coworker comes up to her and is like, yeah, I had to give up my baby. I didn't think I could take care of it. I didn't want it to get hurt. If it was either me or the child, I wanted to give her a better life, and so I gave up my baby, but I want my baby back. And she knows exactly who has this baby, and she knows exactly how this came about and whatever. And she's like, listen, if you want your baby back, you get your baby back. And so there is this whole lawsuit that is happening with the mom against the state, but the state could take away the baby from these people who are friends of the Richardsons. And so now the Richardsons are getting involved for their friends and against the mom. And, you know, Mia is with the mom. And now Mrs. Richardson is very just like feeling high and mighty, feeling like she could be nosy. And she's just so needing to know and so obsessed with Mia because Mia has a mysterious past now. And now it's kind of looking like she is everything that Mrs. Richardson could have been if she hadn't had that proper idea of how to live and exist like her parents did. That's a whole other storyline, but from this lawsuit, the mom against the state, there are so many people that are coming out and voicing certain opinions about the thing, and it's very interesting. There's a lot that comes from this discussion. Racism is indeed involved. Certain elements of adoption and like who should get the kid, what is best for the kid, under the guise of like, I know what is best for the kid, so therefore listen to me because my opinion is so important angle, amongst many other angles and perspectives. And it's just, it is so mind-blowing. And we're still with that story, which is why I think it is like the sub-primary plot, even though, yes, it all came about because of, a poverty family and a rich family coexisting together. Well, and then also the intrigue of some past things now leading into this, now making the past more mysterious, more alluring for this other family. I do think that this court case is a huge element of the story as well, and I think it's bringing about a lot of conversation. It sadly brought about another plot piece that I am just like, oh no, we're going there, we're talking about it, and I don't like it. I mean, I like that we're not shying away from literally anything in this book. It seems we're just hitting all the hot topics of societal structure and anything to do with society as a whole, but it's just so, it's so sad. This book has my heart, let's just say that. Okay, I am having thoughts, and I am having a good time. I hesitate to say good because I'm not having a fun time necessarily with everything that is going on, but I am having a great time with this book and just all of the elements, the literary devices, the literary techniques. Can I just say I think this author is kind of a genius? I think I've said that before, but I think this author is kind of a genius, and I can't wait to read more and update you guys on things that are happening. This could be analyzed for a lot of other stuff. Honestly, quite frankly, I think this should be in the educational system. I do, because there is so much talk of good things. And there is the differing perspectives as well. It's not just one perspective fits all. All of the characters have different perspectives. Some agree for different reasons, and they share those different reasons. I'm just like, finally, we finally get everything I want in a book. Like, all of the characters, all of their perspectives, the differences in between. This author sat down, took her time, knows her characters, knows her world, also has her own voice, and brings in topics of conversation and doesn't preach it at us, however, gives us a good show of it. Oh. Wow, I had feelings. I just shocked myself with my feelings. I think I need some water. I thought there was more water. Interesting. Well, I'm fired up. I think I need to chill. So I'm having a good time with this book, okay? I am going to be reading more of this for sure. There's going to be live streams all day today. It is Friday, and normally Ashley Hart's Reading does live streams on Thursday. However, this week she's doing it all day today, which is Friday, and I am excited because this is when I normally have the most motivation to read, because I like feeling like I am reading with other people. And also, I like having accountability for doing anything other than editing. Even though, quite frankly, I have to edit the most freaking long video. Okay, can I just rant to you guys for a little minute? I love how I'm asking permission, even though I'm going to do it anyway. Y'all can skip. I have an over 2.5 hour, I am pretty sure, raw footage video that I did for my main channel, and I have only gotten, editing wise, about, no, wait, hold up, 3 hours of raw footage. I've gotten about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. I still have the rest of that to complete by today. I want it to be done by today so that Saturday I am literally off. I want my weekend to be my weekend. I want my vacation to be my vacation. I don't want to have to think about anything. The only thing that I will actually do is film and export. I'm not even going to try and like do editing prior to, unless I want to, for the editing, because I need to have all of the I need to have all of the storage for Stray Kids. Okay, so I am having all of the storage for the Stray Kids concert. I'm not going to be filming the entire freaking thing. Like, this concert is for me. I'm going for me. I'm not going for content. I'm going for me. I'm going for our boys. I'm going to have vibes. I'm going for stay. And a chance to meet up with fellow stays. Let's freaking go. All of us in AZ, we're taking the trek. We're taking the pilgrimage to California to go to SoFi Stadium and just cheer on our boys, because this is awesome. Being able to be a fan of something is so amazing. My mom, bless her soul, has had to go to London with me. Well, she didn't have to. She wanted to. She went for a tennis thing. I went for Stray Kids. It was fine. I literally sent her an entire trip to London solely for Stray Kids. Got a great experience outside of that. Don't regret it. And quite frankly, I'm so glad that we did everything that we did. Loved it. Left a piece of my heart in London, to be honest. And just like for the culture and for everything that I had there outside of Stray Kids, I would follow Stray Kids to different stadiums around the world. But if I leave a piece of my heart in a city, then you know I absolutely enjoyed it. And everywhere I travel, I feel like I leave a piece of my heart there, but this one specifically tugs at my heartstrings a little bit more every single time I hear a reference to London. I'm like, I had a great time. I loved it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, my mom and I, my mom, bless her heart, has been to every single Stray Kids thing where they were performing. So the one in Hyde Park and now the one in Cali. So hopefully we can convert her to be a stay. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I don't know where I got off on that. Yeah, I'm going to support our boys. I'm going to see fellow stay. I'm here for the vibes. I'm here for the concert. I am present in the moment. I'm not going to be thinking about social media-ing or contenting what is the best angle. Y'all, I will be filming it just so that I can have it for my own validity that I actually did indeed go. Because there are moments where I'm just like, I did see them in concert already. Well, not in concert. I did see them perform at Hyde Park already. And then I get to look back at it every single time. I'm just like, that did indeed happen. And then I'm reminded of all of the other things that I didn't get on camera. And I'm just like, yay. And it's great. But that's what it's supposed to be. For me, this is a diary log. It's not a let's get work in, or let's just get all of the footage to then edit, to then have all of the views and things. And like, I don't think that a bunch of stays do that. I do think that there are people that who do that, and that's like, okay, fine, live your truth, whatever. That's not me. I'm just here to have fun, to document what I can for my own personal use and memory. And if I get to share my own personal use and memory with other people, and they get to find enjoyment of something that is truly so awesome and fun, then what's the harm in that? There is no harm. So yes, anyway, I am gonna shut up, calm down. I think I'm starting to calm down from the fiery passion that literally did shock me just back there for a second. So that's good. Now I have to film some short form content things and then head into work, where I will immediately pick up reading. Oh, that's where I got off. And editing. Editing that freaking long video so that I can have the weekend just for Stray Kids, vibes, beach, reading, maybe a few cute cafes, maybe a bookstore. We'll see. Alrighty. See you guys when I next have a chance to talk to you. Bye.
Hi guys. My apologies. I am a little sick right now, but I wanted to finally wrap up my thoughts on Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, and it's a 5-star as we had guessed, and it's actually up for being a contender for my secret 6-star shelf, the goddess tier, if you will. I am just like, I have so many thoughts that I literally cannot articulate any thoughts or think through the thoughts, and I'll probably have more to say later and just be like, I should have said this about this book too. But for now, what I can come up with is that Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng is a wonderful telling of a slice of life. We are following along 2 separate families who just kind of got tossed together, and each of them is a novelty to the other. And that isn't only for the kids, that's also for the adults. And you are watching a lot of really tough life stuff and scenarios happen to these people amidst just like daily idyllic life. And what's so fascinating is that we are going through what is supposed to be an idyllic, peaceful slice of life story, and we are getting things like, oh my goodness, like abortion, like race, like poverty versus, you know, financially rich. Oh my goodness, there's adoption. There we go. That was the other A word. Instead I said abortion. I was like, well, there's that too. So, you know, we're getting all of these hard topic conversations all within what is essentially just a new family moving in to this complex that was provided by a rich family, and the rent is so low because they are so rich. So the landowner sees this as like a act of service to be able to provide a very nice, very quaint little place that others can rent at such a low price. It's literally a steal, and she's not making any money off of it, basically, out of the kindness of her heart. So this new family moves in, Mia and Pearl, and they turn the Richardsons' life upside down. The Richardsons are the family that owns the property, and they just swoop in and turn these people's lives upside down. Everything they thought, everything that they knew, everything that they believed, everything that was kind of just like rose-colored for them, they just kind of shattered. And I love that about this book. And the only reason that I'm like really just like summarizing the full entire book now, even though you guys have seen my thoughts, is because I feel like I had only focused on the writing style and my thoughts of the book itself, but it wasn't really fleshed out. So I wanted to just kind of summarize it again, just so that you guys actually knew what this book was about, because there was that, and then there was this other plot that was going along as well, where Mia was helping another coworker in trying to regain custody of her daughter, and the results were so sad. Like, I wouldn't even say it was disappointing, because this is just so real. Everything about this book and the scenarios were just so real, and none of them truly had a happy ending. And I almost like that for this book, because it's real life. Like, this author wrote real life, and she wrote the characters as people we see in real life. More and more as you go through, there's more of a perspective and a worldview and more of an understanding and empathy. And I greatly appreciate that of this book, because you kind of need that in this scenario. And I think this is a more think piece of a slice of life scenario than just a slice of life that just, you know, it's cute, it's fun, it's cozy, it's a fast read, and boom, you're done, next read. I think this is very thought through, but honestly, in some ways profound, if I were to say it, because you don't really have the bias. You don't. You just have the character bias. And the character biases are literally all of the perspectives. Well, there probably could be more and more intricate and detailed, but for the most part, it does kind of give as many perspectives as one could possibly imagine. And it's just, it was so good. I greatly loved it and appreciated it. And while I have no idea what the vlog is, I know in editing I'm gonna just be like, okay, so this was a little choppy, but here was everything, and then we'll have better stuff at the front and the back. The front end and the back end are like the two, the two things, this is what I'm talking about, the two things that are keeping this video together. But yeah, overall, I just really love this book. I know I would have more to say, but honestly, I don't know if my throat can take that at the moment, but just know that this is a great, amazing book. I think this author is going to be an auto-buy author if I find any more of her stuff, or happen to do research and find pen names, if that is indeed a thing for this author. And then also too, this is going to be a contender for the 6-star. It is definitely a for sure 5-star. It is something that I think should be taught in schools for various reasons, the least of which is the literary styles and techniques and just the literary aspect in general, but then also the conversations. I think they are so good. I think they are worth it. I think that everyone should really read this, and not just from like a me forcing a book onto you, although let me be clear, I have books I can force on all of you. Well, not force, but like recommend to all of you. But I think this is something where I would just be like, in any realm of whatever you read, this is a book that I think should be at least tried. Yeah, and that's my thoughts on it. Like, honestly, all of the highest of praises for this book, to be honest, all of the accolades that you could possibly like think of and put into words and pretend they're coming out of my mouth right now. I literally am just like unable to continue on, but I had to get on. I had to let you guys know what is going on with this book and just round out this vlog in general. But this was an amazing experience. Thank you so much, Ashley Hearts Reading. Love you, girl. And oh, this was so much fun. I hope we get to do it again. Like, being that this was both of our first collabs, I think that was fate. I think that was very much telling. Thank you so much for this experience, for this collab, for this offer to do the collab, and I hope we could do more in the future. Can't wait to see what your brilliant mind comes up with, and I can't wait to participate in your first readathon, girl. Can't wait. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. You got a lot of really good ideas. Like, the list of what we could have potentially done for this collab was actually crazy, like in the best of ways. Like, it was my kind of crazy. I loved it. It was amazing. It was also a lot, and I was just like, oh, this girl is a machine. This girl knows how to do it. So yes, thank you. And also, for anyone who is watching this video right now who does not know who Ashley Hart's Reading is, I'm shocked. Go over to her channel, subscribe, like her video, follow. I'll leave her video in the description box down below because, of course, this is a collab. And then also just all of her links in the description. I'll leave all of my links in the description because I am a YouTuber, so have to do that. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. And as always, thank you guys so much for being the best bookish bestie that ever was, is, or ever will be. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.